You know, if you were to take a strategy game and try to make it in a third-person shooter, the result would probably normally be a total failure. The game would either be a total flop, trying to incorporate too many strategy elements into a third-person shooter, or completely deviate from the original games, as in to the point where it's not even the original game anymore. It's a completely different game with the same name. But PopCap's latest game, Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare, somehow manages to get in the sweet spot middle of an actually decent title of those two extremes. It is an amazing third-person shooter that, although is not a perfect game because they have to retain some strategic elements, is about as close as we'd expect them to get with that kind of transition, trying to turn strategy into third person. Let's delve into the gameplay. Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare is an Xbox One and Xbox 360 exclusive third-person class-based shooter that you can play as either the plants or the zombies. It's a multiplayer-only game online, which kind of ticks me off a little, because you can't play the game without an Xbox Live connection, which the One now requires, by the way, but that's a completely different thing. And something else that kind of ticks me off, you need an Origin account too in order to make that work. I have had it up to here with games requiring you to have a second account just to play them online. I already have the Xbox Live or PlayStation Network or Nintendo ID or Steam or anything, any account online. I already have that. I do not need a freaking new account just to play online. That is BS. I talked about this in Splinter Cell Blacklist. I hate it when people do that, and Origin's forcing you to do that here with Plants vs. Zombies. Combining these two features, online only, and the fact it needs an Origin, at the beginning it leaves a sour taste in my mouth. That alone hurts the game significantly. But once you get both of those set up, the game is extraordinarily fun. You have three main modes. You have your Garden Ops, which is the only thing you can actually play offline. I mean single player, but you still need an online account and a connection in order to play it. And then you have Team Vanquish, which is pretty much Team Deathmatch, standard issue. And then Gardens and Graveyards, which is pretty similar to the original Plants vs. Zombies, as the plants are trying to defend their gardens, while the zombies are trying to take them over. And then there's something called Welcome Mat, which is it's not really a new mode in the game. It's sort of like people who play Welcome Mat, when they die, they gain more health, which is a great way to orient new people to the third-person shooter genre into this game. And I really like it. As, like I said, it allows people who have never played a shooter before just to learn the ropes of the game in a relatively stress-free environment where the roundness contributes to the team in some way. Now, Garden Ops is probably my most criticized mode, the mode I'm criticizing the most, because it is almost a total rip-off of the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer system. Seriously, PopCap, did you not look at other games before you made your multiplayer? It is almost a copy and paste of Mass Effect 3's multiplayer. How can you get so similar? Just by accident. Unless they were looking at it, or were completely and utterly stupid when they were doing that. Listen up, Garden Ops is 4-player, online or offline co-op, only 2-player offline, but 4-player online, where the plants have to set up a garden and defend it for 10 ways, just like Mass Effect 3, minus the garden, and then hold out for extraction. Now, besides a bunch of new features PopCap added, instead of just surviving and trying to defend a garden, and you can use potted plants to help, the bare bones, like I said, is kinda copy and paste. The bare bones, I know I'm repeating myself, but the bare bones, copy and paste. Just that. And I hate it because of that. Mass Effect 3 multiplayer wasn't the best thing, but the fact that it's being ripped off kind of annoys me. Now, potted plants are something the plants can use. The plants and zombies each have their own consumables that they can buy using in-game currency. Thankfully, this currency is easily obtained, and the packs where most of the consumables are found are ultra cheap. But the fact that it has it in there kind of ticks me off a little. There are other packs you can buy for like character items and such, which I'll get to later, that you can buy for even more coins. The plants have potted plants. They can plant a variety of plants, including pea shooters, scaredy shrooms, fume shrooms, doom shrooms, bok choys, snapdragons, and beyond to assist them. The zombies can destroy these plants, and since the plants only have a limited number, depending on how many each character bought before the match, it kind of gets stress concern as they're trying to defend their plants, which is just like in the original Plants vs. Zombies. You have to protect your plants, otherwise the zombies are going to penetrate your defenses. Now these plants, against players in multiplayer mode, they're practically useless. Against zombies, AI zombies, however, they are actually useful. I've had it where a couple of plants can actually hold down an area for the first few waves of garden ops and even some multiplayers. They are not just an add-on just to make it more Plants vs. Zombie-ish. They actually do good, but later in the game they do kind of deteriorate the value, or they're pretty much just stopgaps. They're not really useful. They're just there to stall zombies, except for some of the more rarer, high-tier ones, like Doom Shrooms. Now, the extraction, pretty much once you complete 10 waves, if you complete it, you have to go to Crazy Dave and wait for him to extract you and hold out. In typical Mass Effect manner, when you have to wait for the shuttle to extract you, if any of you know what I'm talking about. Now, in between their waves, 5 and 10 are boss waves. Now, what that means is slot machines will determine, it'll be 3 random things that determine what enemies you face. You can fight things such as tombstones, gargantuas, yetis, disco zombies, but you can also win money in that. If you line up 3 in a row, then you'll get some super wave. For example, if you line up 3 gargantuars, you get a wave where all the enemies are super tough, and you have to fight a bunch of gargantuars. But you can also line up 3 monies in a row and get a super jackpot. But that doesn't end the boss wave. They redo slots. But it's real. And then there are also special waves where a certain type of enemy will appear, like tackle dummies. A bunch of tackle dummies will just appear. And then there are like special challenges, like keep your garden no damage, do this a certain amount of time on certain waves. These have some the challenges are kind of like the Mass Effect 3 side missions in the multiplayer, but the themed waves are a little different. And the waves do get progressively harder. Without me saying that, that's probably he knew about. Anywho, Team Vanquish is, like I said, team deathmatch. The Plants and Zombies are trying to get to 50 kills, and pretty standard. And that's kind of the most familiar third-person shooter. Now, Gardens and Graveyards I've already touched on a little. The plants they have a good 5 to 7 gardens, and then an ultra objective, which is like their main base. The zombies try to capture all the gardens, and then move on to the final base, where they have to either like destroy something or move zombies into it a bunch until they destroy it. If the zombies do that, they win. If the plants can hold them off, they win. Now, each garden the zombies capture resets the clock, which can get kind of annoying when you get set back up to like 5 minutes after you have like 2 seconds left and the zombies capture it. I would have liked to see like a fixed time added, but that means the zombies speed rush. They would have like a bunch of time to capture one garden. But that adds some courage. You can't. It's like, oh, we'll capture it the last second. And we have 5 more minutes to capture it. No, that puts some pressure on them. All right, we only have a couple of minutes left. We have to move fast. It adds more strategic value. I think Popcat just did it just to ease the pressure a little. It does get kind of annoying though. Now, like I said, this is a class-based shooter. There are 4 distinct classes for each side. For the plants, there's the pea shooter, the sunflower, the chomper, and the cactus. The zombies have the foot soldier, the scientist, the all-star, and the engineer. Each of these classes is good for a different thing. The pea shooter and foot soldier are the main frontal classes. They can get around. They have abilities that allow them to get around the battlefield quickly and dish out a lot of damage. The weapons are polar opposites. The foot soldier weapon is a high rate of fire but low damage. The pea shooter, high damage but low rate of fire. This is like these classes aren't just carbon copies of each other. They are different in distinct ways. So you have to adjust your playstyle depending on what side you're playing as. The sunflower and the scientist are the medics of the squads. They don't have as much health, and the weapons don't deal generally as much damage. The scientist, however, does deal a lot of damage, but it's a lot slower rate of fire and a small magazine. The sunflower, very low damage, high rate of fire. Each one can heal friendlies and deploy heal stations. The zombies, that's the only way they can heal normally. The sunflower can heal plants by using a sun ray or planting a potted plant. And these guys they can also revive teammates faster. You need these guys if you want to keep your team in action. Because I've played matches where it's useful to have sunflowers to keep your teammates alive. That alone can make a difference. The chompers in your all-stars are the heavies. The chomper is a melee-only class, but it can also burrow underground. Not to mention it has more health than other plants. Also, if a zombie is hit from below or behind, it'll instantly kill them most of the time. However, the chomper is vulnerable for a short while digesting the zombie. The chomper, like I said, tank, useful getting close. The all-star, a little more broken than that. They have even more health than a chomper, and they actually have a gun, which is pretty much a mini-gun. Unlimited ammo, but it will overheat after a while. It can deal a lot of damage to plants at long range, and it has abilities that can deal a heck of a lot of damage, as well as support friendlies. For example, Sprint Tackle, which allows them to close the distance and deal a lot of damage to any plants. The chompers are their main weakness, because the chompers can sneak behind them and one-shot kill them. These are the two farthest apart classes. They are almost nothing similar to each other. The All-Star, long-range, chomper, short, at pretty much point blank. Now the Cactus and the Engineer, both are engineers, and the Cactus is also kind of a sniper. The weapons are geared towards... The Cactus can deal a lot of damage at long range. The Engineer can also deal a lot of damage, but it's more short range. They can deploy special buildables. For example, the Cactus can deploy mines, and the Engineer can deploy special abilities to stun plants. And they also both have drones. These drones are obviously drones. They have practically no health. One hit from any weapon will kill them. And the weapons don't deal a lot of damage. But they can do a lot of damage, and if they linger, they can deploy special attacks, like the Corn Strike for the plants, or the Zombie Bomb Strike for the, not the official name, for the zombies. And these can do a massive amount of damage to any of the opposing side in the area. These are good for taking out fixed positions, or zombies that are pinned down, or zombies or plants that are pinned down, because against mobile targets it takes too long for it to hit. And there's also something for Xbox One that's Xbox One specific called Boss Mode. Now, Boss Mode, you play an overhead view as either Crazy Dave or Dr. Zomboss in van or ship or something. And you can deploy spawning areas by collecting like brains or sun. You can heal friendly plants, resurrect them, or call in airstrikes akin to the special drone weapons. And it's not like these things are invulnerable either. They can be shot down by surface fire. No one really does it because not many people play that mode, and it takes a lot of hits to bring them down. But if someone does play it and they play it effectively, they can often turn the tide of battle. And this is available in all modes, by the way. Boss Mode. You can do it for Garden Ops, Team Vanquish, or Gardens and Graveyards. Another thing I don't like is the supplies. Zombies and plants gain their consumables about the same rate, but because plants are using their consumables, their potted plants, in both Garden Ops and Gardens and Graveyards, and the zombies are only using their consumables, extra zombies, in Gardens and Graveyards. And therefore, it yields supply problems for the plants, as they're using their consumables about twice as fast as the zombies are. This kind of brings unequal distribution. The zombies will always have a lot more zombies for them to summon, while the plants sometimes will not have any plotted plants because they're using at twice the rate. This can be annoying. I would have liked to see some packs, like maybe more plants than zombies, or packs that give you plant-specific only stuff or zombie-only stuff. And I hope Popcat adds that in a future update to the game, because the plant supplies, like I have a lot of my offensive plants in the game are kind of gone. Say I've been using them a lot in like these modes. Now you can pick up different accessories from these packs to change the appearance of your plant. These for the most part are just cosmetic. However, there are some things that you can get in packs that really change it. These are 3 different character classes, upgrades, and different abilities. Your plants have different abilities. They start with only one ability, but as they complete challenges, they level up and gain new abilities. After level 3, they gain their third ability, and you just get a special pack for every time you level them up again. But in certain playable packs, the high tier ones, you can sometimes get a special ability. For example, one of the Pishu's abilities is a Chili Bean Bomb, which pretty much acts as a pipe bomb from Left 4 Dead, if anyone knows what I'm talking about. If you don't, it attracts zombies and it blows them up. One of their abilities is Sombrero Bean Bomb, which takes longer to explode but deals more damage. These abilities are interchangeable. They are, like I said, from the example, they often have a major benefit, but they also have a downside. So you may or may not wish to change abilities, which is very useful. They also have certain upgrades. For example, one of the Chomper upgrades is they can digest zombies faster, and these upgrades are just applied to the character, and they have a immediate effect, no downside. And then new character classes. Now these classes are not just a reskin of the original plant. That's what the accessories are for. These plants are entirely different playstyles. The one I got, the Future Cactus, its gun is not just spikes. They can shoot pulse lasers, which still have the same damage, but they can also charge their weapon to deal a lot more damage. These classes are significantly different than their originals, and I can't wait to see what other ones are out there. And now, that's my review, so we'll go over the pros and cons of the game. The pros of the game. It's able to accomplish its task of being a good third-person shooter spin-off without completely destroying the game or looking like just a plain cash-in. It's able to accomplish its class-based shooter with superb flying colors. Each class is significantly different. It's not copied on any side, and the different classes, phenomenal. The fact that they aren't just reskins is very, very useful. Its welcome mat is able to quickly orient new players to the game while they're able to contribute, which is great. Not many games have things like that other than training. And also, the game, its consumables are not just window dressing. They actually have a purpose in the game. The zombies, the extra zombies you can summon do help. They can draw fire away from your team, and the plants can hold down positions. Obviously, the stronger ones you get, the better you're off, but all of them have purpose. Now, cons of the game. It's online only. That alone is a major con. People who don't have Xbox Live are kind of screwed. They can't play this game. I mean, it's free, but they also, and since the Xbox One, well, it's one required for the one, and you do have to pay for gold, so that's like $50 a year. So pretty much a bang for the game, and another $50 on top of that just to play it online. Some days I wish Xbox would make their Xbox Live free, except for situations like this. You're paying like $110 just to play one game online. Although there are other games you can play online, like Titanfall, it is kind of annoying in that regard. You need an Origin account to play online. Like I said, I am really frustrated with this crap. I want it to stop. I don't want to have two accounts to play one freaking game. I am really... If I want to have a secondary account, I'll get a secondary account. Don't force me to get another account and play online. It's... The fact that it's Plants and Zombies have to be bought with in-game currency is another major con. I mean, this is Plants vs. Zombies. I'm not paying I shouldn't have to pay in-game currency just to play, to get these consumables to use. And finally, the supply unequilibriums can sometimes give the plants trouble in garden and graveyards and garden ops modes. Overall, however, I think this is a really good game. It's too well thought out to be a cash-in, and it's just to appeal to third-person shooter fans, or just to make money off the series. It's really thought out, and I really like this. Now, I'm not sure what PopCap's going with this. I hope it's just going to be a spin-off, and I'm going to get the benefit of the doubt into my review about it. I just don't want to see PopCap making 10 of these games. I want to see more strategic Plants vs. Zombies. I don't want too many third-person shooter Plants vs. Zombies. Otherwise, I'm going to start giving PopCap crap for this. I mean, you're not turning your franchise around, not my watch. So, this brings my final review to the game, and I'm kind of hesitant on this review. It's kind of in the middle, but I'm giving Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare an 8 out of 10. This is a great game, worthy of a purchase if you have a One and an Xbox Live Gold. If you don't, I'm not sure. Like I said, it's online only, so you do need these accounts, so it's kind of off for you, but if you do already have this, it is a great game and you should get it. So that's going to sum up my review for this game. Remember to drink some lemonade, pick up a controller, and have a good time. Peace out, peoples.